abundance. Shit's getting real. I got a mic. Today, we planted seedlings. It is that time of year finally. I can't believe we're in January already. The year's flying by so fast, but I'm already gonna start some of my cool season crops. Usually I like to start my seedlings for anything I'm transplanting in the garden like 2 months before they go out into the garden to get a really nice head start. And by cool crops, I really mean brassicas. That's the only thing I start ahead of time. Everything else I direct sow. So your brassicas are gonna be like your cabbages, your kale, your cauliflower, your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts. So I've already showed you guys how to plant seedlings. I have made so many videos here on TikTok and on YouTube if you want to go check those out. I also have my new book, Gardening for Abundance, dropping March 5th, and I talk a lot about starting seedlings just in time for the spring. So today, while planting these seedlings, I thought I'd just hop on here, get into my groove, and talk to you guys about things I learned from last season and that I'm not gonna do again. While we're here, one thing I'm definitely not gonna do this season is plant too many seedlings. I know. We have been stuck inside in the cold for months. We just want to get our hands in dirt and plant everything. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself this year. Last year, I literally planted hundreds of seedlings, and I only planted a fraction of them. Yeah, I gave plenty away, but there were still so many seedlings that just had nowhere to go, and they ended up dying. I mean, it went straight to the compost, but it was so much more work than it needed to be. And I'm not trying to overwhelm myself this season. I want to have a good grasp on everything that's going on. Another thing I'm definitely not going to do this year is start seedlings too early. The seed packets will tell you 6 to 8 weeks is a general good starting point for seedlings indoors before you transplant them in the garden. I don't know why I was starting things 3 months before transplanting them outside. I ended up just having seedlings that were sitting around for way too long. They got really root bound and they just overgrew the pot and I had no idea what to do with it. So I got kind of stuck. So I think I'm going to start things a good like 6 weeks before transplanting them outside, just so I don't have things lingering around for too long.
So I'm sitting here editing this right now, and I just want to make a little note about the time frame in which I'm going to be growing seedlings indoors. The conditions that I'm growing my seedlings in are optimal. I'm growing them in a greenhouse, all right? It's like amazing humidity, great light, like literally prime conditions for plants to be growing in. So they're going to grow much faster than like your traditional household. So, yeah.
Something I definitely don't want to do this year is forget to label my plants, especially if I'm direct sowing them. I was really lazy last year, especially with like my carrots. I didn't label any of them and I forgot what was what. It was just a mess. It's nice to know what you're actually planting, especially if you're like plucking them and showing people your harvests and they're like, what kind of carrot is that? And I'm just like, a red one. Also, there's going to be a full list of plants that I am planting in the garden this year, along with a garden plan. Not sure when that's dropping. It's in the works, but be on the lookout. It's coming. Another thing I will not be doing this year, sadly, is planting eggplant. Thank God I have a local farmer's market, but it's so hard for me personally to grow eggplant. Here we deal with flea beetle really bad. I tried tenting the eggplant. I tried covering it up. I tried hand picking off all these flea beetles, and I don't like using any chemicals or pesticides in the garden, so I really just ended up losing the battle to flea beetle. It really sucks though, because I love growing eggplant. It's like literally such a beautiful plant, but I just can't deal with the heartache again. By the way, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I have to show you the cover of my new book, Gardening for Abundance. Oh my gosh. My partner Dominic actually took this photo and it's literally perfect. Dropping March 5th. Oh, you know what else I'm going to be very conscious of this year? I'm going to try the Three Sisters again. You know, when you plant corn, squash, and pole beans together. But I'm going to be extra sure that the beans that I pair with the corn are a nice and modest bean, not an absolute monster. Last year, I tried the Three Sisters, but the beans that I planted were huge. And they ended up overgrowing the corn and swallowing it whole. And I didn't get much corn. So, if you know any modest pole beans, let me know.